joined by the very lovely Dave Sweetmore.
How are you doing? No expense spared here, is there? I've
None
noticed that.
whatsoever, well within my budget.
Oh, thank you for having me anyway.
You're more than welcome. So I'm going to start by just listing the various things that you do.
Yeah.
So you're a DJ,
Yeah.
a radio presenter,
Yeah.
TV presenter,
Yeah.
tour host,
Yeah.
festival host,
Yeah.
podcaster.
Yeah.
Have I missed anything off?
No, it's a bit of everything really, whatever I can muck in with, but yeah, anything to do with music and that, it's all good,
Yeah,
innit?
you've got loads of feathers in your cap, haven't you?
Yeah,
for all
yeah.
sorts that you do.
Good at winging stuff.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Just go and wing stuff all the time. You've got so many aspects to your career. So when you say you wing stuff, where did it all start?
I left school when I was 14, nearly 15, and my dad at the time was a music promoter for a load of 60s and 70s bands, so, you know, the likes of Sweet and Bay City Rollers, Lieutenant Pigeon, The Animals, The Yardbirds. So I left school dead young and went on the road as a roadie, carrying gear, setting gear up and all that kind of stuff. And I did that till I was pretty much 18 really, which was brilliant because it was sort of like, got to learn how to be with people and made you really streetwise, and it was just a real good time and good thing to do. It was totally out of the norm for what all my mates and stuff were doing. And then fell into DJing really when I got to 18. It wasn't something I'd ever really thought about, but accidentally fell into it and it seemed to work, seemed to do all right. And from there, one thing has gone to another really.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So where did you first DJ?
Queen Anne pub in Haywood. It's like, so I'm from Haywood originally, and back then, which was like the mid 90s, Haywood had this amazing nightlife, and like a lot of towns,
remember it well.
yeah, I would say like a lot of towns, it's hard to imagine now really, but it had this amazing nightlife, and it was in the Guinness Book of Records for a while for the most pubs in.
I think every other building
Yeah, it
was.
was.
A pub.
I think it had 50 odd pubs in a mile, something, whatever it were, and it had a few
Mile,
good
yeah.
nightclubs, and people came from all over. And when I wasn't touring with bands as a roadie, it was like I'd go out into Haywood with my mates and all that. And there was one pub, the Queen Anne, that a young family just took over. And at the time, it was very much, you know, they didn't put DJs on in pubs. It was a jukebox, and then people would go to the nightclubs, and that's how it was. And they kind of like brought this thing that were going on abroad, I suppose, really, and made it into a bit of a fun pub.
Yeah.
So anytime I went working, I was in there, and one thing led to another. The fella, Nigel, who owned the pub, was a bit of a mobile DJ, and he wanted to spend more time in the pub, and I started going out with him. And like I say, it wasn't really a plan to be a DJ. It just sort of it worked, and I've always had an amazing knowledge of music. And because at the time, then in the 90s, it was sort of like all the music was good. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't just the indie music that was good. The R&B were good, the hip hop were good, even the pop music were good. The dance music was amazing. So it was playing all that kind of stuff, and to be honest, I quickly started doing that, and then they bought a nightclub in Haywood as well, and I quickly got a name for myself really quite well there. And
Was your name ever on like a placard outside in the neon orange?
no, that might be when I'm dead. That might happen when I'm dead. No, I don't know.
I just remember going through Haywood quite a few
Do you know what?
times. and
Possibly.
things being
I know
advertised.
they were a banner at one time, but like I say, I was just an Haywood lad then who fell into DJing, and then by the time I got into my early 20s, it was very much like sort of Manchester scene had gone, the Britpop scene were phasing out a bit. There weren't a lot of bands going on, but then in the early 2000s there was this big resurge that really came off the back of Britpop, and you know, the Arctic Monkeys were on the way in.
Yeah.
Kasabian were on the way in, the Libertines were on the way in, and I quickly got into the indie scene then, because I'd always kept in touch with bands. I'd always liked supporting the local bands, you know, met different people, and then through meeting different people ended up meeting the Spiral Carpets, and then within, you know, from starting as a generic DJ in the, like, what year would that have been, 1996, by the time it got to 2002, perhaps 2003, I'd sort of made name on the indie circuit and left working in Haywood, and it's just gone from there really. So, you know, I'm not always good at taking praise, but I've sort of worked hard for it, and met a lot of great people, and you know, been lucky. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you also got into radio as well. So you've been at BBC Manchester Radio for a while.
I've been. Yeah, I mean, radio. How that started was like when I was in my late teens. I thought I'm gonna have a go at radio here. So I did a hospital radio station. This was when you were in hospital, you didn't have all these smart tellies and that. You had like old headphones coming out the wall. And I did that for, I don't know how long I did it for, probably for about a year or two, but I mean, when you're like in your late teens, early 20s, and you're in nightclubs 7 nights a week, you don't particularly, you're not bothered about sitting in a studio. So, but I learned a lot there, and I met some great people there. And then once I'd started getting my name out there, probably in the, I don't know, mid to late 2000s, the BBC, I mean, I've been going on BBC Radio Manchester for years now. It's got to be 15 years, 20 years as a guest. Even when it was at Oxford Road, I was going in there doing stuff. And I've always continued doing that, yeah. But that was always as a guest or, you know, as a contributor or whatever. And then about 11 years ago, there was a station not far from where we are now, actually, in Oldham, called Revolution. That it had been an indie station, and I didn't have a show on it then, but the likes of Clint Boone and Phil Beckett and Manny all had shows on there, and I used to get sent out doing the club nights. Then it got took over and turned into a generic station by Steve Penk, and then he sold it on to a media company from Wolverhampton, who then made it just Revolution 96.2 as it was, playing generic stuff. But they wanted an indie DJ on, and I don't think they wanted to play a massive name, but they wanted someone who people sort of knew. So yeah,
'cause there was a few people up there. I went to visit up there, 20 so years ago.
Oh yeah, no, it was brilliant. But like the fella
nice
then,
little spot.
yeah. So the fella then who taught me, Kev Bailey, were called. He'd been like a Sony Award winner and everything, and I mean, he wouldn't let me have a show for about 3 months till he trained me up properly, which I'll forever be grateful for. So yeah, so it started doing that for, you know, that was once a week, and it was very much the one thing I was always proud of with the show. It was like, you know, we'd play Oasis followed by a new band followed by the Beatles, and it'd all get the same respect.
Yeah.
So then after about 5 or 6 years, Revolution got sold. Greatest Hits Radio bought it, took it over, like they do with a lot of stations. Yeah, and then at the time, a fella who worked at Revolution had gone to Tameside Radio. They'd just been took over by a media company, and he kind of like became station manager and took quite a few of us over there. So up until only a month ago as we record this, I was doing stuff there. I did my Monday night indie show for years, and then did Drive Time for a couple of years as well. But with other stuff, it just became, I couldn't commit to it.
Recently
Closed
the doors, haven't you, on the Tameside show?
Yeah, I mean, I still go to BBC Radio Manchester every Friday morning, do stuff with them, but yeah, it was a big decision to make, really. But with what I'm doing with my career now, it was kind of like, it was just impossible to commit to. And
too many pies juggling.
Yeah, and I mean, I work on a lot of tours now as well, and it just made it a bit impossible. And the one thing with that show that I did for over a decade was, it, you know, you could say, oh, pre-record it, but it was always a live show. We had bands in every Monday, and that was part of it. I don't want to pre-record it. I could do, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
So never say never. Who knows, that show might come back one day, but at the moment when I'm working on these tours, it's just impossible.
Yeah. And speaking of your tours,
yeah,
you've recently come off one from with Paul Young.
Yeah, that was amazing. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these heritage acts, as you'd call them now, doing these theatre tours where they're telling a life story and stuff. And I went on one back end of last year with Sean Ryder, and I'd managed to get on that through Sean and his wife Joanne, because I knew him. And off the back of that, the promoter liked what I did, and he kind of like said, right, well, Paul Young's going out. And I never really worked with any 80s pop music stars, if you like. But honestly, I've got like a friend for life with him now. We got on so well. You know, we spent, you know, 4 months together on this tour. Pretty much every night was sold out. And the good thing was, I mean, I've been looking at, I've met a lot of people in the indie music scene, the Manchester music scene. But on that tour, I met so many people that I perhaps wouldn't have met, you know, like these 80s pop stars like Spandau Ballet, and, you know, Mike Reed came to one of the shows, and you know what I mean? So I've met loads of people, and it's just opened a lot of doors there, and it's a really good thing for the future. And
you've got more lined up, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I go out on tour with Nick Kershaw in September for 3 months doing the same thing. I've not met Nick yet, but Paul reckons I'll get on really well with him. Apparently he's got a dead dry, sarcastic sense of humour, so that'll be good. And then I've got a couple of others lined up, and then Paul's back out on tour next year. That includes like 3 or 4 weeks in Ireland, so I'm going to be doing that again with him. So yeah, it's good. It's
busy schedule.
Yeah, it is, and that's what I mean. It's just I'm not around to commit to doing a weekly radio show like that anymore. And through summer I've got all the festivals, and then winter tend to do a bit of touring with bands, DJing. So it's God, I'm busy, aren't I? Yeah, it's busy. Yeah.
So speaking of festivals,
yeah,
you've been doing festivals for how long have you been?
Years. I mean, like I do work on a lot of these bigger tribute festivals, and they're something that over the last few years have.
They're the
really,
Adored events,
yeah, Manchester Adored, and then Made in Manchester, and then quite a few independent ones as well. And I mean, 10 years ago, I probably only did 5, 6, 7 festivals a year. Now I think it's about 25 festivals a year.
Wow.
A lot of the tribute ones.
Yeah.
As we record this weekend, we've got Kendall Carlin, you know, do Shine On occasionally. So, yeah, a lot of festivals like that, which are really good. And I think a lot of people aren't perhaps going to the pub every night like they used to now. They sort of go to events, if you like, and that's why these are doing really well.
Yeah.
And it's great to see all the ages you get at them as well.
Well, there's one on the 9th of August in Rochdale, my hometown.
Yeah.
That's the Adored event.
Yeah, that's Mayfield Rugby Club, isn't it?
Yeah, Mayfield, just 5 minutes up the road from where I was.
Yeah, we did that last year for the first time, Mayfield. It was a really, really good one. So, again, it's a load of tribute bands. I think, might be wrong, I think K-Class are on that one with us as well. So that'll be good, yeah.
Yeah. And there's the bigger Adored event on the 25th of October in Manchester at Bowlers, isn't there?
Is that the date? I can't remember what date it is. I should know that.
That's the one I've got written down.
Yeah, I mean, Adored started the festivals at Bowlers, which, I mean, what an iconic venue anyway. I mean, when I was at school, they thought that I'd be like the resident DJ in Ulsters. What? But yeah, no, it's brilliant. So they started doing Manchester Adored years ago at Bowlers, and we were getting 6,000 people there. And since then, they've started taking it out on the road. So I think probably about 12, 15 of my festivals are all Adored ones. So we do a lot of the cricket clubs and sports clubs, and they're all a good size as well. They're all between like 3,000 and 6,000 people, and they all sell out and they do really well. So they're good, and like I say, you get a lot of mixture of ages there, all enjoying the bands. And you know, I know there's a lot of iffy tribute bands out there, but there's a lot of really good ones as well, which I'm really lucky to work with.
Well, there's the festival day that you're not going to be at is this weekend on the 2nd of August, but that is the live lounge at that one at Cheshire Fest is hosted by Mancunia TV.
I mean, in an ideal world, I would have been doing that.
Because you are the host of Mancunia TV.
Yeah, I mean, when it all came about, that not only that, a lot of my friends are on, the Inspirals are on, Bez is on, MC Tunes is on. You know, there's loads of great bands on that, and like when that came about, I spoke to Anton, who is Mancunia TV, and you know, him and Georgina had put all this together, and I said, I can't. It's Kendall Carlin. It's not like something I can just get out of. So I'm absolutely gutted I can't do that. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I met you about 3 months ago, and I did. My first thing I said to you is, I've come to steal your job. Yeah. So I might kind of steal it for Cheshire Fest.
Yeah.
You're out the way at Kendall.
I'm honestly, that's going to be such a good day, and it's so good that Anson and Georgina have got to, like, you know, create that stage kind of thing, and they've put a great lineup together of icons like the Inspirals and Bez and MC Tunes, but loads of new bands as well, which is what they're brilliant at. And yeah, I'm gutted I can't be there, but it'll be a great day.
Yeah. And Mancunia TV will be back for, is it its 4th season in September maybe?
I think it's more than that. You know, it's no, because it was MMTV. It started as MMTV. So as Mancunia, it might be the 4th one. Yeah, I've not been given a date yet. I'll catch up with Anson and Georgina probably over the next couple of weeks. And
so have you been hosting that since it was MMTV?
The very first one, yeah.
Wow, every episode.
I think there was one I missed, and I think there was one that I missed, and Laura Beth, who produced my radio show for 8 out of the 10 years, she hosted it. But yeah, no, it was brilliant. I mean, we were talking off air before. It's like a lot of people have tried doing that kind of thing over the years, and whereas Mancunia TV, MMTV, it's really lasted and done well, and it's grassroots. We've never ever tried being anything we're not at that. You know what I mean? It's grassroots,
and it's a nice mix
DIY.
of people, isn't it? When I came up, you've got, you know, bands on, you've got interviews, you've got artists. Yeah,
and the great thing is everyone supports each other as well, and you know what I mean? It's a great thing to do, and if I ever couldn't do that for whatever reason, I'd be really gutted, because I've met so many great people through doing that as well. And so I'm not sure when it's going to come back. I think it was September, but watch this space, it'll be. Yeah,
it's nice to see. I mean, I sort of moved away from Manchester about 10 years ago, and coming back just to see that there's still that massive music community of people all.
Do you know what?
Helping each other out, supporting each other.
Yeah, there is, and I think a lot of that, I mean, I believe that a lot of that is due to things like Mancunia TV and you know, I mean, you just go to that and everyone respects each other, supports each other. It's just a great night. There's always a lot of love in the room, and you know, I think that's the good thing with music. And over the years, they've had a lot of sports people that I've interviewed, a lot of creative people, and it is very much. I think it's brilliant at summing up and putting together what Manchester and Greater Manchester does best.
Yeah, everyone's so nice, aren't they, all the time? And we were saying before that it's quite a small circle, even though it's like a massive.
Yeah, I've always said that. It's like, you know, the music world is massive, but if you work in that, it is sort of like you know everyone, and if you don't know them, you know someone doesn't. I feel really blessed that because of me work when I left school with all the 60s and 70s bands, I still talk to a lot of them. You know, I do a lot of work with the tribute bands, I know them. I support new music, so I know a lot of them. And then, like I say, I'm lucky to have worked with, like, you know, the Mondays and the Roses and the Inspirals and Northside and all that. So, yeah, and obviously doing these 80s things now, it's like, you know, messaging Spandau Ballet, and that's sort of like, I feel really lucky and blessed that I'm in this world, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just up the road now in Chester. My friends they are building up a little thing called Blue Lantern Sessions at Storey House, so that's coming up to a year anniversary that they do. Yeah. And again, they have a few musicians on, and a couple of months ago, they had George Borowski on.
Right, yeah.
And so
you've planned this well, haven't you? You've planned this well.
Done my research.
Yeah,
mostly.
I mean, yeah.
But you've just done a podcast with him.
Yeah.
Because this is another thing under your belt.
Yeah, I mean, probably for about 4 or 5 years, people have been saying you should do your own podcast. And I've never done it. And then a friend of mine came up to me and said, "Look, you need to do this podcast." And he said, "My company will sponsor it for you." And that kind of like, I went, right, and I didn't want sponsorships that I could earn a wage out of it. It meant that, like, if I interview someone, I can go and do it like you are doing now, rather than just do it on Zoom, whatever. And I spoke to him about what I wanted to do, and I wanted it to be, it'd be very easy for me to get people that I've worked with and met over the years on the podcast, but I wanted it to be something that was people who didn't always tell the story, but had quite a big part in the music world. So that's why I called it Roots, the Dave Sweetmore podcast. And up to now, I mean, the first guest I had, and it was John Steele, who was the original drummer and founding member of the Animals. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 2 of his songs are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, people always talk about Eric Burdon with the Animals and stuff. He was there from day one. He you know what I mean? So I did a great interview with him, great podcast with him. And then Leo B. Stanley, who, you know, again, great DJ in Manchester. He formed the Identity clothing brand that everyone was buying clothes off in the 80s and 90s. You know, got him to do his life story. John Coughlin, who was the original drummer and founding member of Status Quo, went down to the Cotswolds. Again, he's someone else now. I'm going to see him in a couple of weeks. Become great friends with since
down to the Cotswolds.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. So you know, I did a life story on him, which he done well. And then George Borowski was somebody who I know he wanted to tell his life story, and because the work that I'd done with him before, it was like, I want you to do it. I want you to be the one that does it. So yeah, and it was great because, I mean, George Borowski is, you know, there's that myth that he's Guitar George in Sultans of Swing, and you know, I mean, he played with Meatloaf, played with Tina Turner, all these amazing bands, and I didn't want it to just be the stories about, you know, what was Meatloaf like and all that. I wanted it to be about him life, growing up and all that, and then how he worked with them and what he does now, and you know, and obviously in that I did ask him the story about Sultans of Swing and all that, and you know, so George, that I only posted that yesterday as we record this, so that's available now as well, and that's a great thing. So like I say, it's called Roots, and the sponsorships for 12 episodes. So over August, well, I'm just doing festivals. I've got during the week free. I've got a hit list of people that. Yeah. So.
And I mean, I started to listen to it, but unfortunately, like it's because it just came out yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't manage to get all the way through it, but it does sound a really interesting podcast.
That's what it is. It's more like, I suppose it is sort of like life stories rather than just like, you know, what's your favourite record or whatever. You know what I mean? It's sort of that's what I want it to be, and all 4 of them have seems to have come out really well, and been well received. And like I say, the John Coughlin Status Quo one. He's been in touch with me quite a lot. I've been to see him a couple of times, and he wants me to do some more work with him off the back of that. So yeah, it's good. It's just another busy time really of stuff. Yeah.
I don't know where you find the time to fit all these things in.
I just feel really blessed to do it, and it's sort of like, I mean, I worked in football as a stadium announcer for 20 odd years, and I had to give that up. That to
was
be
at
honest.
Rochdale Football Club.
It was based mainly at Rochdale, yeah. So I did that till about 3 years ago.
I had my 18th party in there.
Did you? But yeah, no, I mean that again was a great, opened many doors for me. But I felt ready to give that up at the time because, I'll be honest, it was mainly because of all these festivals that were coming in.
Yeah,
I couldn't commit to the.
You're in demand.
Well, cheap, I think I'm cheap. No, it was sort of like when I was doing Rochdale, it was sort of like at the time my life was really nightclubs, so it didn't really affect it. When all the festivals started happening, it was like something's got to give. So fortunately for now, it was my radio show, but who knows kind of thing,
Yeah.
But,
well, just all the busyness that you got. What do you enjoy about doing all the things that you do?
Do you know what? I mean, I feel really, really lucky to do what I do, and sort of, like I say, I'm not one who bigs up what I do, but I've sort of been on a journey like a lot of people from Greater Manchester, and I've worked to get to wherever I'm at. I've worked to get to it, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I love meeting people, seeing people, and for me, it's sort of like being stood on stage playing some of my favourite records isn't necessarily my favourite part of the job. It's seeing people in front of you, whether that be 400 or 4,000, whatever it is. It's sort of like seeing people having a good time, and you've sort of helped create that. And I mean, working on a certain scene, if you like, everyone's there for the same reason. There's always a lot of love, and for me, it's like seeing people have a good time, enjoy themselves, and make memories. That's my favourite thing, really.
All connecting together.
Yeah, and getting to meet so many great people. It's like, I mean, if I look at some of my, heroes and idols from school and things like that, it's like they're my friends now. You know what I mean? I speak to them, and it's quite people who touch on top of pops. You know what I mean? It's quite mad. And not only that, I mean, where we're doing this now at Stephen Lynn's place, it's amazing. And if I didn't know Stephen, it's the kind of artwork I'd come and look at and have a look around and be like, whoa, this is amazing. Yeah, I'm a friend. You know what I mean? And I just feel really lucky to be working that world, if you like.
And is it obviously you're involved with a lot of different bands? Is it something that you feel very passionate about, enthusiastic about, supporting the up and coming artists?
Yeah, I mean,
getting them going, getting airplay.
Definitely. Don't get me wrong, love nightclubs and all that, but working with bands has always been my favourite thing, and whatever kind of band, whatever kind of level that is. And I mean, there's so much great new music out there now that needs supporting, and it's like I probably preach about it a bit, like go and watch the support bands, because the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Stone Roses, Oasis, they were all support bands once. You never know what you're going to see.
Yeah.
And there's that much.
And Oasis have done all right for themselves, haven't they?
Yeah, they've not done bad. Yeah, they've done well, haven't they? Since that opening set in Glasgow, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I always think go and support all these bands, and there's and it's like with the modern age of technology and all that anymore. I think 20 years ago you used to have a few amazing bands, a few rubbish bands, and then like a load of alright bands. But now, because production is so good, people can do it. I think like bands now are sort of, they know what level they've got to be at before they put music out.
Yeah.
And that is one reason I believe why there's so much great stuff out there now.
Yeah.
It's
there is so much out there, and look at that camera instead now. But where can people find all these different things that you're up to?
To be honest,
if they want to come and find
what
radio's on, what TV shows
I mean,
on,
my website is dead basic, davesweetmore.com, so there's probably not a lot on that. I'd probably, social media mainly, it's just at Dave Sweetmore on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, TikTok. Just if you search for @Dave Sweetmore, it's quite an unusual surname, so it's not hard to find. And
do you have time to keep that regularly updated in between all the bits you're doing?
Not as much as I should. I do tend to put where I'm working and stuff on it, and that I probably don't update it as much as you should in 2025, especially TikTok and that. But yeah, no, I do always tend to put where I'm working on and the tours and that.
Yeah. So go check out for Adored Festivals.
Yeah.
Mancunia TV.
Yeah, there's loads of great
BBC
stuff
Manchester.
Yeah.
And the Roots podcast.
Yeah.
At Dave Sweetmore on the socials to find out all these amazing things that you're up to.
Yeah, thank you. Keep doing all this as well. It's great that people like yourself are doing this kind of thing and supporting creatives and people like myself who work in the world. So
yeah. Oh well, thanks for chatting to me today.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. Bye.